Hi, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Caryn Lutz, CEO, founder, spiritual and transformational life and now book coach of On The Go Talent. And you could find me here or at onthegotalent.com. This is a really controversial topic today, but it's time. It's time that I share more of my truth about forgiveness, about the stagnant male energy that I rid myself of. And this is the disclaimer. This is all prior to my king and husband, soulmate, lover, Joe. So I want that to be said now. You guys know that I'm taking you on a journey to the past. And this is a doozy. This is a heavy topic. So like I mentioned, this is all prior to Joe. Joe and I do have things that we have worked out, like every couple, I'm sure. But this is the real truth. And this goes back to a time in my life of innocence. Some of the trauma that happened was when I was an innocent child. I share this because other women need to hear this, need to hear the truth. I've been lied to. I've been manipulated. I've been cheated on. Some of the most painful things that could happen to one's life in love and relationships. And believe me, I have stories. I have truth and stories that would probably blow your mind. So I like to call this heartbreaking yet hilarious, because you take the trauma and the events and turn it into something positive. Because that's one thing that you'll learn about me. I take raw truth and magically turn it into something positive. And that's really important in this life, because if you stay stagnant with that negative energy, it holds on to you. It really does. I've eliminated a lot of people in my life, and I'm continuing to do so. When I make the post about people staying and if they're interested in my stories, I truly mean that. I'm very lucky and blessed to have such a supportive group of people in my life. Many thousands of people on Facebook. And one of my goals is to reach out and connect and to really dive deep into people's lives. I'm a disruptor, and that's what I'm doing right now. People who have watched my journey know what I'm talking about. This is the truth. This is the raw, real truth of Caryn's life. Some things are heartbreaking, yet I make them shine, because that's what I do. A lot of my motivation comes from my anger. A lot of the songs that I have written come from the stories that I have had growing up throughout my life. As I mentioned in another episode, people come in as a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And I have found, looking back upon my life, that a lot of people have come into my life for a lifetime, which is simply amazing and awesome. Going back to ridding yourself, it takes a lot of work. And like I mentioned, this is all before my Joe, my king, my soulmate, my lover, the right person in my life. People are sometimes intimidated by me. I've known this since childhood, and I don't apologize for it anymore. I used to think, you know what? Why doesn't that person like me? Why can't I connect? And I would always ask why, and try to figure things out on my own until God really showed me the truth. The really, really hard truth of the truth that not everybody belongs. And sometimes it's hard because I realize that I don't fit in a box. I don't belong in one group. And I guess I'm learning my lesson that way. But I'm going back to the topic of the male energy. I think I was so blessed to attend an all-women's college because of the distractions of the male negative energy that they sometimes put upon our lives and sometimes curse us with. And some of you know what I'm talking about. It took me 34 years until I found Joe. But I say that, but we found each other a really long time before that. So when I say that, I really mean that God taught me a whole heck of a lot of reasons between love and relationships with males. And if any of them see, this is not to shame or blame you because of your behaviors, because of your negative ways, and because of your projection onto me, because that's what I've learned, people. I look back upon these relationships or whatever they were, and I say to myself, geez, Caryn, you're so empathic that these people were just drawn to you, the narcissist. So many, and this is why I write books, so y'all should be afraid. But I'm careful. The narcissistic qualities, and thinking that I would not figure things out. It was like free therapy for these boys because they weren't men. That's for darn sure. Lying, manipulating. Who are you? I forgive you though, because you didn't know any better. I didn't forgive you because you weren't with God. And now you see, this is why I ended up with my king. Because he was of God. But I guess I was kind of like, somebody had told me maybe Esther in the Bible. A combination of the strong women warriors, you know, Esther, and think of the crown and all of that, relating to her finding her king. You wonder why you go through things in life. I'm such a happy-go-lucky, energetic, fun-loving person, and I've been like that since day one. But there's been so many people who have taken advantage of me, taken advantage of my heart. And it's time they are exposed. So I hope they expose themselves, and if they reach out and they beg for forgiveness. I'm here to disrupt the negative energy of the male figure. I'm so blessed that I get to tell you my truth and my story. You see, I don't call out people and I don't mention names. They know darn well who they are. There's some really heavy stuff that happened. And I'm glad I'm alive to tell this story and share it with other women who have been mentally and physically abused. I told you that I would be sharing pieces of my story and my life with you You thought over the summer I had a lot to tell. Well, I have a lot more. This is the time to forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive others, and wipe your hands clean of it. This is your chance to really look back on your life and look how you have treated people, look how much you've learned, and look how much you have grown. I am not the same girl. So funny because, you know, part of this is humor. I can't be really super serious the whole time here. But I did sing a song, Am I the Same Girl? Actually, that was probably in 2003 after I graduated college. But anyway, I'm not the same girl. I'm a woman, warrior, that is here to help other people through their traumatic experiences and to help other people bring the negative to light and share. I am the leader of my group. I spent a lot of time in school investing in my education to become a leader. I never wanted to call out anyone. But here's the thing. I know what you've done to me. You know what you've done to me. And this is your chance. This is your chance to make it right. Thank God I met Joe. I thank God for him every day. It may have taken a long time for him to reach me, but he got to me. This has been a really heavy burden on my life because I'm one of those people who see the best in everyone. And that's what would happen. And people would just take advantage of my heart and my mind and my spirit. And it tore me down in ways that I never realized. With so much inner work, I've done so much healing, so much energetic work, quantum healing, that I'm here to speak about it and write about it. This is your coming to Jesus warning for any of the male figures who are out there. You know who you are. Forgive. Because I already forgave you. But you can't move on. Stop holding this energy back. Release it. I'm here to change your life. I'm here to change the world in such a creative way. And it's so interesting because you know what? I'm kind of like the spiritual psychologist in a way. I look back at these relationships or people who were in my life and I'm sorry for them because they never did the healing. They never did the healing. I was like a sounding board. They never did the healing. And they've had divorce after divorce after divorce. Or they're still single because of their narcissistic behaviors. Like, it's the truth. And it's the sad truth. It all comes down to you. You want to make a change? You want to feel happy? Look at what you are doing. Look at what you're doing with your life. I psychologically know when I'm down and out what is happening. And it's usually somebody hurting around me. And I just absorb it. But I'm really working on those boundaries. I'm really working on the boundaries. and trying to teach that to other people. Because not everybody belongs to you. Not everybody is your people. I came from a really small hometown, and it was very closed-minded. And I know that's why I had to leave. I had to leave my hometown. But during that time, I pray. I pray for those male figures to heal. Because I always come back stronger. You can't hold a good woman down. It's like, I love Mary J. Blige, and it just came to me right now, and she's also a Capricorn. Just throwing that out there. But think about her messages too. I love her stuff. So if you learned anything from me, women, you are queens. Every one of us. You got to find your crown. I'm here to place the crown jewels of Jesus back on people. Whoa. If this isn't prophetic, I don't know what is. I hope you learned some valuable lessons today. I really hope you have been watching this week and watching my post and watching about the beautiful people in my life. If you haven't done so, go to that album. It's going to be amazing. I am so excited to share this with you all. If I have touched you in any way, if I have tugged on your heartstrings or your mind and triggered you, because I apologize, I said my disclaimer before I started this. Reach out to me. I have been through so much that you guys have no idea. It's mind-blowing, some of the things that I've gone through in this lifetime. But I've always put on the happy face. And it's so funny because my husband will tell you, him and I had a conversation a few months ago, because he knows my story. He doesn't know all of it, but he gets the idea. And he said, yeah, you just put on a happy face from little on up and just performed and smiled. And that's the truth. Like I said at the beginning of this story, things in my innocent childhood. And that person, the first one, is deceased. And I have to forgive him. I have to forgive him. Passed away last year. And if you're watching the replay, please keep my spirit in your prayers as I move forward sharing the negative male energy out in the world. Those who are spiritual know the enemy will try any which way. Lie, steal, destroy. But I've built up my strength. Because I have to help other people with their lives. So I have to be strong. I have to be in the right frame of mind to help other people. I know there are other people out there and they're just waiting. But I'm the guinea pig. I'm the first one. It seems like not the first one, but the first one in my group of people who have really, really gone through the healing process. I want you to remember these words. I've been gifted. I've been healed because I am building a foundation for others with similar stories and heartbreak. And this isn't a men-hating thing. I have plenty of male figures in my life, but I have boundaries and I know what not to do. One of my strengths is working with women. So to clarify, if you are sharing your life stories, because there's been people who have reached out to me, and it's funny because it's usually the women saying, hey, my husband has written stories, yada, 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 yada. I'm not going there. I'm telling you that now. My strength is women. Okay? Because it doesn't have that energy in there. You know, how would you like it if somebody came to you behind the scenes? It was reaching out to another male or that. It's not right. So we're putting it out there now that female, I'm here to safely and creatively pull your story out of you and bring it to life. So I'm circling back around talking about the male energy. I'm here to help you share your story. I thank you all so much for being here. This was a really, really tough subject. But I have healed because otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk about it. This is part of my story. No two stories are alike. Just like no two people are alike. We are all unique in God's creation and God's vision. All God's children. But sometimes really crappy things happen in our life to direct us on a path that we had no idea, and it rebirths a purpose for us. I would have never thought I would have talked about miscarriages. I would have never thought I would have talked about relationships. I mean, I was always too busy as a performer, as a kid, growing up, child, performer. Like my whole heart and life was concentrating on school and performing. You know, I always prayed for my Prince Charming, my king, and I have him. Some of you are suffering. And like I mentioned before, and if I triggered anyone, I did say my disclaimer. I see you. I love you. Some of you have known my story and the corruption and the manipulation and the negative energy around the male figures. If you're watching the replay, make sure to write replay below. I hope you go back and look at your life. Look at your relationships. God gave people to us for a reason. People are gifts. We're only here for a short time. So make it impactful. Make it right. Make it right. I know some of you all watching are holding these negative thoughts thinking, oh my gosh, you know, in high school I had this boyfriend or whatever, and you're holding on to it. You may have moved on. You may be married now and with children. Wonderful. But you know what? It's funny how the mind works because it still holds on. And then you start to get physical ailments. It's like mind, body, and spirit are all connected, people. They're all connected. And this avoidance happens. And so much happens as we move on. And you wonder why disease happens. Unfortunately, it's because of the trauma that we hold on to. I have learned so much about where trauma has been stored in my own body. And I've been able to really heal through that and get back on track. And I'm here to help you. I am so grateful for everything that I do have because I'm looking at it like this, and there's some dolphins out here, by the way. I have a beautiful life. Even though there's been some really hard times, who doesn't have hard times? Let's face it. It's kind of like Wicked. Let's face it. Who's less fortunate than I, right? And going off of that, it's helping people and helping them through their trauma and getting it out of them once and for all. I have creative ways to really mend your trauma. Creative ways to expose the trauma and people that have caused it in a creative way. My job is not to hurt people. My job is to help people. But you cannot heal in the same place that you were hurt. Sometimes I get really profound, but I am a truth seeker. I'm a truth teller. And I want to share that with you all. I know you're holding back. Some of you I know watching are looking back and really thinking, wow, I also had some similar situations and I never talked to them and they're resurfacing now. Maybe it's time. Maybe this is a sign. Take a look back at this and think to yourself, it's time to make a change. Time to make a change in your own life right now. There's too much negative, and we don't need any more negativity. Believe me. I stand for truth. I stand for positivity. I know that the Holy Spirit is using me to bring the good out in people, to bring the love and light out from the darkness. You know, I don't know, and I have to mention this because I forgot about it, but my first role in a movie was sitting on the jury for a movie called Don't Say My Name. And it was all about the human trafficking and all that. I'm here to be a voice for the voiceless. One of my strengths is working with the introverted women. I'm huge on being a safe space for people and bringing out the best in them. I look back at the events that I've planned, and I've always really enjoyed bringing people together and having other people meet new people. I'm such a connector. And through all of the sharing of my truth, there's more and more and more truth. I thank you for being here today. I'm going to end in prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for bringing the truth out of me, because other people need to hear. Other people need to know that there's been some really tough things that Caryn has been through in her life that people have no clue about, because I've held it in. And I'm done holding it in. And I ask you, if there's anybody else watching, to do a life review and go back through your trauma and really work on healing. The Holy Spirit will come to you and will heal broken parts of you if you ask. Just ask for forgiveness, because that is what this whole episode is about. Forgiveness. 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 I love you all, and thank you for listening and being here and for your support. This was a really tough one today, but it needed to be done. God bless.